on that paper. And if you're not doing it to say the most impactful shit, or doing it to be the best you can be for the listener to live their daily lives, then what are we doing here?
You came out of an experience with To Pimp a Butterfly, which, as albums go, was different again. If this is state of mind, that was sort of state of times.
Exactly.
And I wondered, when you put out To Pimp a Butterfly, were you aware of what you created as a document and what it said, and did the reaction that the record received eventually, when you realised what it was doing and how people were adopting it and using it beyond just music, was that something you'd hoped for? Definitely.
It was something I wanted to shed light on, what was going on in my community, what was going on around the world, what was going on with my people. I always felt the need to approach it in an aspect where I'm not only thinking about right now, this record has to live and teach the same way Ty lived, the same way Jay, the same way Common, the same way Ice Cube taught us back in '91, and I went back 15 years later, and I've learned from it. This album has to teach, not only in these times, but for the future, to understand our history, what we was going through in 2010, 2012, 2014, 15, and when you can go back and you can apply that knowledge with whatever's going on in the future, that right there is going to help the next individual, the next Kendrick Lamar, the next kid on the corner to make whatever situation they're in a better situation, not only for themselves, but for those around them. So the success of that record didn't come from the accolades and the awards. For me, it came from people going out there and singing all right in the middle of these streets and taking pride and dignity into where they come from and where they want to go, and expressing themselves. A lot of people don't have voices out here, so to see them actually express themselves through song, through lyrics that I wrote, that's confirmation for me. That's confirmation for me that the passion and the insight, the thoughts that I put into these records, it's far beyond me. And To Pimp a Butterfly, that gave me this fire, man, a different type of fire to know that music is just not about, putting your lyrics and saying cool things on the record. It just really affirmed, confirmation for me that what I do is not for Kendrick Lamar, man, period. And that record did that for me. It let me know that, there's people out there that go through real things that want to hear this.
The success of that record in those terms, that it reached so many people in a deep way, and ultimately you had to try and detach yourself from that connection in some regard because it belongs to them now. But also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear real themes of self-preservation on Dan.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I did that. I made that. It's worked. It's working. It's going to continue to work. But at what does it take a toll on you? And at what point do you withdraw yourself back into something that you can control? Because you can't control what people are doing with Butterfly.
Yeah, definitely. The best way for me to put it, To Pimp a Butterfly would be the idea of the thought of changing the world, and how we work and how we approach things. Dan will be the idea of I can't change the world until I change myself. So when you listen to records like Pride, Humble, Lust, Love, these is all just human emotions, and me looking in the mirror and coming to grips with them, and thinking of the idea of the world itself and combine them in two records. I will hope the listener can take heed and grab something from both of them two ideas and carry out their day to the best potential of themselves they see.
What came first, the song titles, the words, the idea, the list that the track listing has become, or the music, and then you would apply a word to the song that you'd made?
It would be the music. It would be the music.
So you finish a track and then you go, this is the word that's going to identify that song.
Well, what happens is that word comes across in some of the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, while I'm writing, it's the first thing I grab from as far as inspiration. The word come across in some of the lyrics, and I just pull that word out, but keep the record, you know, and that actual word is what represents the whole idea of the song. Yeah, so it's a lot of lost verses, you know.
I can imagine. Let's just get a few sort of facts on the record. You said just over a year you were working on the album? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you start a record? Does it have a starting point, or are you just creating before you know it?
Man, I sit and I think all day, you know, all day. That's why I said 80% of it is just me prepping, you know, myself to get back in there, you know, to first acknowledge how I'm feeling in the moment.
I was going to say, is it as simple as you asking yourself, what do I want, or in fact, what do I have to say this time? What can I say after what I just went through?
It's more about what's true to me and what will impact the person listening. The idea of making that connection again, but without being a false story, you know. You know, people can write about anything, but if I don't feel it, then the listener, sure enough, ain't gonna feel it. Simple as that. So the first idea is me coming to grips with what I'm feeling at the moment. You know, when I have records like Feel, or I have records like Fear, or Pride, you know, these are some of the first initial ideas, you know, coming across music. I sit with beats, you know, we create them from scratch, and I just sit and live with it until I'm able to reach that point of, this is what I feel like.
And that could take days?
Yeah, it
weeks?
could take months.
Months?
Yeah, it could take months. The right approach, or it could take 2 minutes, you know? And me understanding that process and knowing how I work, you know, to execute it is the best for me. And I have a great team around me that has a lot of patience, because sometimes I can't just pull these words out of the sky. I have to really just indulge myself in it.
So if you started making this record just over a year ago, we were still in a very different situation in America. We had a different president.
Yeah.
And it was still very much in that world of To Pimp a Butterfly. And then within, you know, months, at the end of last year, it all changed. Everything changed.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd imagine that, you know, you're someone who absorbs what's going on around you. And was it hard for it not to just veer directly into that world there, because politics changed so dramatically overnight?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely tough. I mean, I have a lot of records.
Yeah, do you?
A lot of records.
So you expressed yourself privately.
Oh, yeah.
So you have records that cover that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Heavily. Easily. Just off of pure frustration. Just off of simple, the wow factor of what's going on. And yeah, simple as that, definitely. So what happens is I have these records, and, you know, certain things that are in these songs, and I may pull pieces from, you know, to make sure that it's covered to where I feel like I feel better about it, that the listener know, or that he know. You know,
so it's the sharpest message in the shortest amount of time
in the shortest
point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people were probably expecting a heavier reflection of this time.
Yeah.
Because of what had happened with Butterfly, and maybe some people thought, okay, well, we're in a different place now. Donald Trump's president. Is that going to be more heavily reflected on the new music? I think there was a
right, exactly. But I wanted the more self-evaluation, discipline, because what's going on now, we're not focusing on him. What's going on now, we're focusing on self. You see, you know, different nationalities and cultures are coming together, man, and actually standing up for themselves. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's a pure reflection of this record. Prior to it's even happening, prior to even coming out, we say, okay, we can't control now we see we can't control what's going on out there. You know, it's a whole nother power that be. So what we can do now, we can start coming together and figuring out our own problems and our own solutions, you know? And I think I know this is what this album reflects.
That's what Damn is.
Yeah, definitely.
Take a look. Take a look at yourself and ourselves. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not blaming everybody else for the decisions that we didn't make proactively. Proactive. I want to start going through the record. Because, 14 pieces of music, or 14 tracks.
Yeah.
Starting with Blood.
Blood.
It's like a parable.
There's some hidden things in there.
You're going to have to pull up where you got to pull up, because you know me, my job is to go deep, and there are people who are just like, go deep, so you've got to protect yourself as and when you have to protect yourself. But I mean, let's just talk about it. What is it in relation to the record? What can you tell us about that opening? Because I know that you want people to discover it in time, but to me, it's a parable.
Yeah. What can I say about that without saying about that? It is one of the most interesting pieces on the record. Man, I don't even think I can find the wit to tell you about that record, man, without telling you about that record. It's a new life. It's a new life.
Is it the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning?
I can't tell you that. That's what I can't tell you. Come on now. That's the whole thing.
Come on. I had to ask them.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole thing.
Okay, all right. DNA, as opening lines go, you know, I got loyalty, I got royalty inside my DNA. Did you know when you came up with that, wrote that, was making that track, that was the kind of start in many respects? That was going to be the opening line of the record?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's one lesson I learned from Ice Cube. He said, if your first opening lines don't grab the listener, it ain't period. You know, it has to be a statement.
He would know, man.
Yeah.
God, it's a mother.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, and it has to be a statement. And I don't care if the statement is blunt or the statement is, you know, held back. They got to feel it regardless. You get what I'm saying? And people are going to feel it if they know it's real and true to you.
You say a lot in that opening verse. I mean, you get a lot out. It's very quick. I mean, the idea of DNA, and you sum it up brilliantly at the end with sex, money, and murder, our DNA, and you make it about all of us. But it's a very personal journey in the beginning. You're like, I'm going in.
Yeah, definitely. There's three types of themes in that record. It's me recognizing the world around me.
Yeah.
It's me recognizing the lifestyle that I've grown to see and indulge in from time to time. From a famous perspective, to coming to grips to the idea of knowing who Man was, you know, as a 7-year-old boy, and figuring out who they see as Kendrick Lamar, you know, and taking all these different aspects and personalities from my own perspective, from me, from my soul, and putting them in the record. You know, so you're gonna hear different tones. You're gonna hear a baritone. You're gonna hear me breaching out the water like a whale, you know, and you're gonna hear that same hunger and that same desire that I had as a kid, you know, but through record, through my own DNA, through my own bloodline. It's just everything who I am.
You have this remarkable relationship with religion, at least in your work.
Yeah.
The way that it features is it's hard to put it in a circle, you know what I mean? But it's constantly there. In DNA, you make reference to Yeshua's new weapon. And it made me think, like, you know, you often refer to yourself as it's almost like, where would you be in the religious line of hundreds of years ago as opposed to right now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I've always had that I mean, we are spiritual beings, period.
Definitely.
And that's something I can't never run from in music, you know. And when I say as a weapon, going back to the line that you referenced, I always felt like God